If you're like many people, you probably found yourself wondering what is the difference between training at a lower heart rate and a higher heart rate, other than the obvious it gets you into better shape.
Hey everyone, I'm Mitch, certified trainer, and I'm the Fit for Moto guy on YouTube. Now, some people say that the high intensity interval training gets you more bang for your buck in terms of calorie expenditure and just overall increase in performance and fitness. And yeah, there is some truth to that. However, we can't discount the lower intensity cardio altogether. It does have its place. So in this video, I'm going to convince you why that is.
So undoubtedly, we've all heard that the higher intensity interval training will increase your cardiorespiratory capacity. In other words, it gets you into better shape faster. And that's true. It will increase your VO2 max, which is to say you will have more gas in the tank for riding.
So what does high intensity interval training actually mean? Well, that means that you're pushing your body, your heart rate to its at or near peak performance level. You're gonna let it drop down a little bit again and then spike it up again. And it, just like the name suggests, interval training, you're gonna come down and then spike it up. You're gonna come down and then spike it up. I'm gonna do that repeatedly. When you hit the upper peaks, again, you're getting like pretty much at your ventilatory threshold max, like your VT2 max. So I mean, you're getting up there. Now, what about if your heart rate was at like 60 or 70%, something in the lower zones? What does that mean and what does that do for you?
Training in the lower intensity zones has numerous benefits as well. First of all, it uses a different fuel source than the high intensity. The high intensity uses more carbohydrates for fuel, whereas the lower intensity uses more fats for fuel. Your body will mobilize fat for fuel instead of the glycogen or the carbs inside your muscles.
And that is due to something called the respiratory exchange ratio, or the RER. Now, I have done a video on that previously, and I'll put the link below and how you can watch that if that's something that you're interested in. It's really pretty interesting information, and I suggest checking that out.
Secondly, you can't keep up the high intensity exercise forever. So doing lower intensity in the lower zones will allow you to build endurance. That endurance is often called a base.
So I'm sure you've heard of trainers talk about base level fitness. Well, that's one of the benefits of the low intensity cardio, is that you get that base level fitness, which is a huge bonus.
Next, the lower intensity cardio can be looked at somewhat as an active recovery session. When you tax your system to its max day after day, this will allow you to recover a little bit in between your training sessions, which, whether or not we want to accept it, it is necessary.
So you're only going to be able to do the high intensity interval training for so long, right? Your body's only going to be able to put out like that for so long before it starts breaking down, and you need to recover a little bit. Now, with the lower intensity, say your heart rate is at 60% of its max or something like that, not only are you getting some of that active recovery going, right, but it's also going to help improve things like blood flow and some of the other processes that happen during exercise. So you're kind of getting a little bit of both. You're getting some recovery, but you're also getting something done, which is what a lot of us want. So that's a big benefit.
So what about drawbacks? Well, there are two that immediately jump to mind. First, your exercise sessions will have to be much longer to achieve the same level of energy expenditure.
So one of the drawbacks is that to achieve the same workload as the high intensity interval training, your lower intensity or your steady state is going to have to be a lot longer. And that makes sense, right? I mean, if your heart rate's jacked up, you're burning lots of calories. And if your heart rate's lower, you're gonna have to do more of it to burn that same amount of calories. That makes sense, right? But one of the other drawbacks to doing the lower intensity cardio is that it can often be seen as boring, but more so that you can actually overdo it. And what does that mean? Well, what happens when you're doing the lower intensity or the steady state cardio, your body will actually adapt to what you're doing. So if you just do repetitive cycling day after day after day, that's your body adapting to what you're doing. So you're getting less bang for your buck over a long period of time, if that makes sense. So say you start off doing an hour base bike ride, something like that, and it has let's say a perceived exertion of a 5 out of 10. Well, if you did that exact same ride for months on end, you're gonna find that your perceived exertion on that is gonna drop to like a 3 or a 4. It's gonna seem like it's getting easier. That's your body adapting to what you're doing. So when it comes to the steady state or the lower intensity cardio, one of the drawbacks is that your body will adapt to it. Versus a higher intensity, I mean, you're constantly pushing that threshold, so it's really a lot harder for your body to catch up to what you're doing. So that's something to consider.
So when should you do one or the other? It's important to have a proper program set up so your body has the ability to recover when needed, but you can also build on your base instead of doing nothing.
So you can overdo it and you can underdo it. The big thing here is that there needs to be a proper balance between the two. Now, luckily for you, I've already done a program. It's completely free. It takes all of the guesswork out of it. All you have to do is head to iRideSupplements.com. You'll see that there's a couple programs there completely free. Just download them. You can follow them. You can share them. You can do whatever you want with them. And it takes all that guesswork out of it for you. I think that's pretty cool, right? I hope you liked the video. I hope it helped in some way. Smash that subscribe button for me. Head over to the link, grab yourself some supplements. This is going to help with a program that you're about to pick up if you go over there and get it. Hope this video helped you. Stay safe, ride safe. We'll see you in the next one.